Good morning, guys. Today we're going to talk about the preterite tense. The preterite tense is the past tense. So in Spanish, there's going to be present tense, which we already talked about, and we have the past tense, which has two different tenses within the past tense. We have the preterite, and then we have the imperfect. So today we're going to talk about the preterite. The preterite of the AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. These are their endings. So they end in AR, ER, IR. Okay. So, the preterite tense allows you to refer to specific past actions. What does that mean? We're talking about something that already happened. Okay. And because there's two tenses, it's important that since now we're paying attention to know when do we use the preterite instead of the imperfect. So, we're going to use the preterite when we're talking about a fixed point in time. So I called you at 3 p.m. He bought the car on Tuesday afternoon. So not only did it happen in the past, it happened at a specific time or a specific day. Okay? We're also going to use the preterite when we're talking a specific number of actions. So I called you 5 times. They ate 10 sandwiches. She read the book twice. So this is things that happened already in the past, and they happen specific amount of times. Okay. We're also going to use it for enclosed amount of time, meaning I worked for 8 hours. The movie lasted 2.5 hours, and he lived there for 2 years. Okay. So these are specific amount of time that something happened. Okay, so for how long something happened, how many times something happens, or what time or specific day something happened in the past tense. We're going to use that as the preterite tense. Okay? Now, even though I'm telling you that there's specific time, down here, I want you to look at and read. It says, it is important to remember, while obvious features of the preterite tense, how a quantity of our actions. When quantity is not stated, it is generally implied. What do I mean by that? That by saying I went to John's party, I don't have proof when I went. It doesn't say what time it is or what day it was, but by saying I went to John's party, it is implied that it started and it ended. Okay? We ate McDonald's again. If you say we ate McDonald's, we don't know what time you ate it or what day, but it is something that we know and we can assume that it happened and it was completed in the past tense. Okay? So pretty much that's what we're talking about here. So you're going to use the preterite when you're talking about something that happened in the past tense and you know specifically when, what time did it happen, what day did it happen, how long did it happen for, or you can assume that it started and it was completed in the past tense, okay? Right now you don't have much to worry about it, but it is important for you to pay attention because once we start the imperfect, when I come back, you're going to have to be able to tell the difference between the preterite and the imperfect. So right now you're only worrying about things that started and ended in the past tense. You know when it happened, how long did it happen, what day it happened, or you can assume that it started and ended. Okay? Now, this is the preterite tense, but it still works the same as the present tense. Okay? So, I have a note for you up here before we move on. A good test of determining if the sentence in the preterite is to ask for how long or when. If you can answer that question, then the sentence is preterite. Okay? And if you look at 2 examples here, I wrote, John called me is in the preterite, while John used to call me several times a day. It's not. Why? Because when I say John called me, I know that happened and it's over. It's not happening anymore. It only happened one time. But when I talked about John used to call me several times, that was something that continuously happened. And we'll talk more about that later on, okay? Now, on your endings, the AR and ER, if you see there, I gave you the chart. you're always going to drop the AR and add these endings. These are preterite endings. ER and IR verbs are totally the same in the preterite. So there's no hemos and imos in the nosotros and vosotros forms. It stays exactly the same, okay? So I gave you two verbs over here to compare. So you had hablar, you took the AR out, and over here tells you need to add an E. So your answer is hablé. Hablaste, hablo, hablamos, hablasteis, y hablaron, okay? Same thing with comer. It's an ER verb. Drop the ER, add an I have comí. Doesn't matter if it was an IR verb. If your verb would be vivir, which ends in IR, which is to live, you would still say viví. Drop the IR and put an I with an accent. Accents are very important. If you don't have an accent, I will mark it wrong in your assignments and on your test. Okay? So we have our endings in the preterite tense. This is for some stuff that happened. It already completed and happened in the past tense. Okay, here are your examples again. Hablar and comer. Okay, now, I also want you to write these common preterite markers, okay? And these are common words that are going to tell you that you have to use the past tense instead of using the present tense, because we are really used to using the present tense right now. We always want to say hablo, como, tomo, okay? So, but we're now talking in the past tense. So if you see the word ayer, esta mañana, esta tarde, la semana pasada, el mes pasado, el año pasado, hace plus how many years? You could say hace 2 años. 2 years ago, this happened. Ayer por la mañana, ayer por la tarde, ayer por la noche. Those are clue words that as soon as you see one of those words, you know that your sentence has to be in the preterite. Okay? So, on review, I'm going to send it over here so you can look at your endings again. We're talking about the preterite tense. This is just like we've done in Spanish 1. We did it with the present tense. We took all the verbs that end in AR. We drop the AR and add the ending according to the subject. And then ER and IR verbs. So that's all we're doing right now. And we're talking about preterite tense, which is specifically something started and ended in the past tense. And we know when that happened. Or we can assume when it happened. Okay? Alright guys, if you have any questions, send me an email, comment below in Google Classroom, and I'll answer any questions. You will be working on the preterite for Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, you will be working on a writing essay with stuff that you previously learned with me and vocabulary from this chapter. And Thursday, you will have your vocab quiz. Remember that your vocab quiz is from English to Spanish. So you need to make sure that you don't only know what it means, but you need to know how to spell it correctly. Spelling will count. So you'll get 1 point for having the right word and 1 point for spelling it correct. Okay? If you have any questions, send me an email and I will gladly help you out. Have a great day.